right, we move on to the Eagles beating the Commanders 29-18. This game, man, if you ever want to see must-watch television or just must-watch video, there should be a camera on me as I watch the Eagles game. Anyone who likes rants or just likes, get a bag of popcorn and just loves, eating that shit up, watch me watch an Eagles game because it is F-bombs galore. I looked at it like the Commanders are they're just waiting for an excuse to quit, to just, get ready, finish up the season and freaking go on vacation, go to Cancun, whatever they want to freaking do. They're just looking for a reason to quit. Don't give them a reason to want to fight or to think they have a chance. Just don't give them a reason. On the opening kickoff of the game, we fumble the ball and give it to the Commanders at the 30-yard line. The first play, you give them a reason to want to stay in the game. To me, I'm like, what are we doing? And it's freaking Shipley. And here's another thing. If I was, you would not want me as a coach because I would cut everybody. I'd have no team left. Third string running back, we don't use him on offense anymore. He's like never out on offense. So your only job is to field kickoffs. And you couldn't even do that. So I'm like, I would just cut his ass. I was so mad. There's no one coming up behind you on a kickoff. I can understand like someone punching the ball out from behind or whatever. Like shit happens. We're human beings, right? But everybody's in front of you. Like just hold on the freaking. I was so mad. Like you get paid like $1 million. Like, he probably only gets paid $1 million. I don't know. Maybe not even that. But like you get paid a shit ton of money, more money than all of us like would love to have. Just hold on the damn ball. So the Commanders get a field goal. It's hard for me to put that on the defense because they got the ball already in field goal range, right? And then the Eagles did something different. So last week against the Raiders, we did a lot of under center. If you've been following me, you know how much I love the under center stuff. It just opens up the run game. It changes their field of vision. They get to see the field more clearly. They get a running head start, build some momentum. Okay, when you're in the shotgun and you hand the ball off like this, the running back has no momentum. So breaking tackles and having some power is hard to do. You're at a standstill, right? And then I just think play action works. Doing this whole thing like come on, that's not doing anything. I just think play actions work so much better under center. It just opens up a lot more of the offense. But we weren't coming out under center. We were coming out in empty set. So like no running back in the backfield or anything. Like Jalen Hurts by himself in the shotgun and everybody out wide. He was picking the Commanders apart like that. And I think it makes it easier because it spreads the defense out. You know what I mean? It kind of spreads them out, makes it a little bit harder for them to do any kind of exotic things or anything like that. Makes it harder for them to all be around the line of scrimmage. Kind of spreads them out a little bit. And I think that makes reading things easier. The ball is coming out a little bit more on time, a little bit more in rhythm than what Jalen Hurts usually gets it out at. Lord knows I've been complaining about that for a while. Jalen Hurts does have limitations, people. Doesn't mean I don't like the guy. I still consider him a top 10 quarterback in most areas, but that is a limitation of his. It just is. But when you spread him out like that, I think it makes it easier for Jalen to read and to know where to go with the ball. And we were dicing him up. We were doing a little bit of hurry up as well, which is nice because another thing I hate about this offense is we get to the line so damn late in the play clock. It doesn't give us a lot of time to really read things out, everything else and all that stuff. And sometimes when we get to the line, we're taking too long to read things out and we're snapping it with 1 second left. It's just, I don't know, like there's no hurry up. But there was actually some hurry up and everything else. And I was like, okay. The problem I have is we didn't really go back to it after we scored a touchdown. We tend to go away from what's working in games and it drives me crazy. Like it was working. Make them prove they can stop it first and then go away from it. And then maybe come back to it later, see if it works again. You know, like Jesus Christ, we help teams out too often, and it drives me crazy. Empty set in the gun and boom, 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 touchdown. Now we're up 7-3 and I'm feeling a little bit better. And then really, the Commanders had the only drive really that I'm going to consider the defense giving up in the whole game is they scored a touchdown on one touchdown drive. They scored another touchdown later, but that was against a backup defense. And again, the field goal that they had, they got the ball already in field goal range. So those two things I'm not going to put on the starting defense, all right? So the only real points the defense really gave up was 7 in my mind on that touchdown drive. Now it made me nervous. I'm like, what the fuck, guys? What the fuck? Because that was early in the game. For all I knew, were they going to get more drives like that? Who knew? But I was a little bit nervous. I was like, what the hell? We missed 2 field goals, really 3. So the Eagles have a kicker problem with Jake Elliott right now. Now, they had a kicker problem last year in the regular season. In the playoffs, it got a little better. Now, he missed a couple extra points in the playoffs, but the field goals were all like he was becoming automatic in the playoffs again, becoming clutch in the playoffs, thank God. Hopefully that happens this year too, because he's becoming an issue, Jake Elliott. And in the playoffs, man, those are one-score games. You can't be missing field goals, okay? So it makes me a little nervous. So we went into halftime down 10-7, and I'm like, what the fuck? And the Commanders are going to get the ball first. Commanders got the ball first, did nothing with it. Marcus Mariota got hurt on that 3-and-out. And then we scored a touchdown and we were up. They brought in their, I guess, third string, Josh Johnson. Something Johnson. It's been in the league for freaking ever. And at that point, you knew it was kind of over, and the Eagles just kind of just torched him from there. We went for 2 one time, going up 18 points. We went up 19 points. And this was like late in the fourth quarter, with like 4 or 5 minutes left to go. Kind of rubbed the Commanders the wrong way. It kind of probably would have rubbed me the wrong way too. Nick Sirianni tried to reason it like, hey, if they get 2 touchdowns, they're up 16 points, now a field goal will beat us if we're only up by 18. There's like 4 minutes left, dude, and they're down to their third string quarterback. You're worried about them getting 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions, and getting the ball back to where a field goal could beat you. Come on, man. Come on. I would have took it personally if I was the Commanders. I'd have been a little heated, like, what the fuck? There is an etiquette to be had here. You could say, okay, well, maybe they didn't want to kick because Jake Elliott was missing. It was an extra point. Okay, maybe he pulled a leg muscle or something. He had him kick off like 60 seconds after that. Okay, maybe they were trying something that they just wanted to practice on. They wanted to practice at something on the 2-point. They wanted to practice a 2-point play. They ran it to Saquon Barkley up the middle. You know what I mean? So there's nothing I can really look at. Like, I don't think Nick Sirianni was purposely trying to rub it in. I don't think that's what he was trying to do. I don't. I do think in his head he was playing the analytical game. I just question why. Like, you know what I mean? Like, taking it a little bit too seriously. We're 4 minutes left. Whether you're up freaking 18 or 19, does it really matter? But whatever. I mean, if you're playing the Rams, maybe, I don't know. I could maybe question, I don't know, whatever. Just thought it was weird. At the end of the day, the Eagles played 2 cream puffs. All right, they were on a 3-game losing streak. I did see some differences in the offense against the Chargers. The problem was it was just mistakes galore. Okay, it was interceptions galore, but they were moving the ball. And even on the podcast, I said, this was the first game we lost where I really felt like we were the better team. A lot of times we would win games, but we were outgained by the other team. We just somehow found a way to win. In the Chargers game, I felt like we were the better team. We were moving the ball. It was just mistakes galore. 4 interceptions, another fumble. Other than the mistakes, I did like what I saw from the offense, from how they were scheming things and everything else. I saw improvement in the Chargers game despite the mistakes. Then we do it against the Raiders. A cream puff. But again, I'm not looking at how much we beat a terrible team by. I'm looking at how are we attacking the team? Our play calling, our sequencing, the route trees and everything else. Like, what's our formations? Like, that's the stuff I'm looking at. And I again saw progress. Same thing with the Commanders. I'm seeing progress. I'm not looking at the results. I'm looking at, So hopefully that makes sense. So I'm seeing the Eagles offense doing better. And the Eagles defense is already very, very good. We have a top 5 defense, and that might even be not giving them the due justice that they deserve. You might even be able to say top 3. I don't know. We have a really, really good defense. Jalen Carter is going to come back at some point and come back healthy. Lane Johnson on our offense, he's going to come back healthy. And you could argue those are the 2 best players on our entire team that we haven't had on each side of the ball. So they're going to come back healthy, because they've had time off. So I'm starting to get a little bit optimistic going into the playoffs. Again, not so much from us beating up bad teams. It was more from I think they're starting to get it. I don't know what took them so long. What do we do going forward? We have a chance to get the 2nd seed. It's slim. I think we need the Bears to lose both their last 2 games and us win both the last 2 games. That's how we get the second seed. The Bears do have a tough schedule. They play the 49ers next, and then I can't remember who their next game is without looking at the schedule, but I know it's a quality team. I do remember it being a quality team. So they theoretically could lose both games. It can happen. How much does that matter? How much does a second seed matter? It's, the only way it's going to matter is if you are the third seed and you have to play the second seed in the playoffs. That's the only way it's going to matter, because you would be going to them instead of them going to you. Other than that, there's no other difference. There's no other difference. How much does that an extra week of rest mean to getting that? How much does that matter? And right now, Chicago is that second seed. So you would be going to Chicago, because I think it also matters, where would you be going? You know what I mean? If we're going to LA, even though it's way across the country, is that really a home field advantage? You know what I mean? I think Chicago, it's very Philly-like. It could be very, very windy. How much does that matter to the Eagles? You could also drop to the fourth seed. And I will say you do not want to go to the fourth seed, because in the playoffs, the fourth seed plays the fifth seed. So that means you're going to be playing the LA Rams in the first week of the playoffs. Not ideal. Or if the Seahawks lose and the Rams get back, you'll be playing the Seahawks in the first round of the playoffs. Again, not ideal. You really don't want to be the fourth seed. The only way I can see us being the fourth seed is us dropping both games and maybe the Panthers winning both games. I don't even know the mathematics on that. I'd have to look at it, but I think it's still an option. Personally, what I would do is I would play the starters against the Bills, and you would use that as a litmus test. Not only are you going to play your starters one more week and just kind of see how the seeds fall, that way you can kind of just assess where you're at in the final, going into the final week of the season. How realistic is it that you'll move up or down or whatever like that, and just kind of figure it out from there, right? But play your starters against Buffalo. Use that as a litmus test game. You've played a really bad Raiders and Commanders team. Play the Bills, a playoff team, a good team, see how you do, and then you kind of have like an idea going into the playoffs. If you win that game, man, you got some good momentum. You're feeling super confident. If you lose that game, how did you lose it? What adjustments do we need to be made before these games freaking are elimination? You know what I mean? So I would play my starters against the Bills. And then honestly, getting the second seed isn't, to me, a major thing from the third seed. So really, honestly, I would probably, regardless of what it's like, I would probably rest my starters against the Commanders. And quite frankly, Tanner McKee and the backup receivers, I think probably could beat Washington. I do. I really do. I think they probably could beat Washington. So you might win that game regardless. That's how I would do it. I would play against the Bills, make that your litmus test, see where you're at, and then rest your starters for the last week of the season. Get everybody healthy, those little bumps and bruises, get some treatment, get ready for hopefully 4 postseason games.